collaborative law enforcement operation has resulted in Tasmania's largest drug seizure with a street value of $10 million. This operation has disrupted a significant drug importation syndicate with overseas connections, with a number of arrests linked to the Rebels Outlaw Motorcycle Gang. The Australian Crime Commission-led Illegal National Task Force coordinated this operation, which involved Tasmania Police, Queensland Police, the Australian Federal Police and Australian Customs and Border Protection Services. Yesterday, the operation culminated in police searches of properties in Queensland and Tasmania and the United Kingdom. As a result, 3 people were arrested in Tasmania, 2 people were arrested in Queensland, and they were arrested on suspicion of money laundering, importing and trafficking significant quantities of amphetamine. The searches are connected to the seizure of 2 packages in Hobart on the 23rd and the 24th of June. It's alleged that these packages weighing around 2 kilograms each were sent from the United Kingdom to Hobart through an international parcel courier. Tasmania Police have monitored the arrival of these packages and later intercepted the drugs prior to their delivery in southern Tasmania. It's alleged that the syndicate ordered a further 2 packages of 2 kilos each, these packages also weighing 2 kilograms, to be sent to Queensland, which were intercepted over the weekend. Intelligence does indicate that those further 2 packages were destined for Tasmania. It's with the collaboration of the agencies involved that this has resulted in a significant disruption to these organised crime gangs, and this importation syndicate has been disabled. Amphetamine type stimulants are the second most widely used illicit drug in Australia, and Tasmania is not immune from this national problem. These drugs pose a serious health and community harm risk, and I thank all the agencies that have been involved for their excellent work in ensuring that these drugs were intercepted before they had an opportunity to hit the streets. I now introduce Mr Richard Grant from the Australian Crime Commission, who will provide some information about Task Force Illegal and the Australian Crime Commission's involvement in this operation.
Thanks very much, Assistant Commissioner Adams. The Illegal Task Force is a Australian Crime Commission board-approved national task force which involves all of our board agencies in tackling money laundering. It's been in operation for almost 2 years now, and has resulted in over $40 million cash being seized, over $700 million worth of drugs being seized, $30 million worth of assets being restrained. The results that we've seen today is reflective of the intelligence we've developed from the Illegal Task Force in conjunction with the Tiro Task Force, which is tackling and addressing the issues associated with the Rebels Outlaw Motorcycle Gang. Our collective work today from Illegal and from Tiro has resulted in tens of thousands of hits of amphetamines from not hitting the streets of Tasmania. And when one considers the harm that this drug causes to users, this is a really good result for our communities and for Tasmania. There's a perception among some drug users that drug use doesn't hurt anyone. This perception is incorrect. It causes psychosis, it causes depression, it causes anxiety, it increases our health issues, and it also drives our crime rates. And so the results that have been achieved today by the agencies that you're seeing at the table today is a great reflection of the collaboration of all our agencies. I'll pass you on to...
Now, I think we're happy now just to take any questions that you may have in relation to the work that's been done.
Can I ask, when you say the drugs were intercepted before delivery, can I ask where they were?
Just in southern Tasmania. It's not appropriate to go into the operational detail. Southern Tasmania.
On a national scale, how significant is this bust?
Look, any seizure of this level has got to be good for the communities. And I guess whether it's 1 kilo or 100 kilos, we're preventing a lot of harm from happening on the street, and we're also preventing a lot of volume crime from happening. So any drugs of any nature being seized is a good result for Tasmania.
And it's certainly important to recognise that 8 kilos of amphetamine were intended for Tasmania. That's the largest seizure in Tasmania, and also if those drugs were cut down and ready for sale and distribution across the state, we're looking at over 200,000 hits of amphetamine out in amongst the community.
When you said that, is it the largest ever amphetamine seizure in Tasmania or the largest ever drug seizure?
The largest ever drug seizure in Tasmania.
With the Tasmanians that are arrested, have been arrested, are they like are they part of a bikie gang, and are they dealers themselves?
One of the males that has been arrested is an affiliated member with the Rebels Outlaw Motorcycle Gang. The second 2 males certainly have strong connections with the Rebels Motorcycle Gang.
Are there likely to be further arrests?
There certainly will be a number of further inquiries in Tasmania and across the other states in relation to this operation.
You mentioned Queensland before. Can you tell us what the arrangement was with Queensland Police?
The Australian Federal Police, with the National Anti-Gang Squad and with Task Force Maxima in Queensland, conducted a controlled operation in Queensland that resulted in the arrest of 2 Tasmanian males that now live on the Gold Coast.
How long has this operation been in the making, and how long have you been sort of gathering information in that?
Again, I'm not going to go into the operational aspects of this investigation. Gathering intelligence is an ongoing process that's done very well by the Australian Crime Commission in collaboration with the state police forces. This operation has required significant work, and over 50 members of Tasmania Police and our partner agencies have been involved in the investigation for some weeks.
Just how well have the individual organisations worked with each other in this effort?
From a Tasmanian perspective, it's been fantastic. The agencies work in collaboration. The communication between the agencies is strong, and look, the success of this operation is an example of how well these agencies work together in this fight against illicit drugs coming to Tasmania.
So these drugs, you believe, were not manufactured in Tasmania. Can you talk us through that? What you know about that?
The intelligence we have is that the drugs were coming from the United Kingdom. Where they were manufactured, obviously, we're not going to be able to go into the detail of the intelligence that surrounds that, but that certainly they did originate from the United Kingdom.
What do you think this is going to mean for the illegal Tasmanian drug trade?
Well, hopefully it's going to have a significant dent, and we're going to be able to provide an opportunity where there is less of this dangerous product out into the community, and hopefully, we've made a major disruption to that, to those drugs being on the street.
You were saying before that amphetamines haven't been so much of a problem in Tasmania previously. Did it surprise you that there was this syndication or this syndicate importing 8 kilos, just that you know of?
Tasmania is like all of the states across Australia. We're not immune from this drug problem, and we actually have had some increased level of seizures over the past few years. For me, that indicates that we've had some real success in terms of the investigations and the operations we have been conducting. But the illicit drug problem, it is a problem across all states in Australia, and Tasmania is no different.